What's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to talk about becoming an authorized reseller, okay? So authorized, okay? Finding a distributor, okay? I talk about inventory source as a great base to give you all the lists and the setup of these resellers, and they're giving you the ability to sell products that you might have not otherwise been able to sell on Amazon, okay? You might have been flagged immediately. Or if you were flagged, Amazon's going to ask you for invoices. Okay, they're doing a supply check, and if you can provide that supply check, you'll be able to not get suspended. Or sometimes you do get suspended, and you'll be able to get unsuspended really quickly. Okay, so doing this, what I'm about to show, is really important, obviously, from not getting suspended. So it's important from suspension prevention. If you get suspended, it helps you that way. If you're trying to get ungated in brands, categories, whatever, of course it comes with time as well. But if you want to get instant or faster for a particular brand, particular category, you can have like Petra or any distributor send like a performa invoice, which is a sample invoice of like a 10 quantity. And it will just show your information, and they can verify, like the Amazon can verify that you're contracted with that particular distributor. They're authorized, you're authorized to resell, and everything's good, and then they'll approve you. Okay, so it's great from that perspective. So obviously there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to do this anyways, even outside of the fact that it's a long-term model. You're building your relationships directly with distributors and brands, gives you potential to have better margins, more automation, safer business model, right? Less fraud. Net 30. Net 30, I'll explain, is where you don't actually have to have like they'll invoice you at the end of the month, even if you did like a couple 100,000 sales. But of course that comes with a relationship. So. But as you start building better relationships, you can waive all the handling fees, all the little fees that they could tack on there that might kind of lower that margin initially. But in the long run, having these relationships is great. Okay, and you don't have to have as many VAs per se just doing listings. They can focus maybe on making your brand, like on maybe you're doing private label. Okay, maybe you're doing PPC on your current wholesale items. Okay. Whatever, and it's just nice to actually have like those wholesale relationships, because there's so many things you can do and free yourself up with. Okay, it's just a great model from that perspective, and you don't have to worry about all these little things that situations and scenarios that can happen, and so this is going to be it's very helpful from a lot of different perspectives. So that's why I'm doing this video. All right, so here we go. We're start doing it. So again, this is very easy. Nothing rocket science here. If you haven't already done this, so you go to petra.com. All right, come down. You click Become a Partner. Now, getting started. You're going to give company information, address, contacts, tax information, payment methods, signature, and you're done. Okay. I'm going to create a new account. You're going to put in, how did you hear about us? You can say whatever, just Facebook, online, whatever. If you haven't been working with a sales representative, you probably haven't. But you can, if you wanted to email, if you email them or if you had been emailing them or in the past or whatever, or you emailed them prior, you might say that person's name. But if you didn't, you can just either leave it blank or just say, just say something like, I don't have a sales rep. Okay. Same thing as Walmart. Basically, you're just kind of when you're doing the tax exempts aspect, just putting in your business information. At the bottom, I think a lot of people have asked this question as far as the website URL. It's not a requirement to have a Shopify store or just a website, but you can put the Amazon website, like your Amazon storefront website, there if you want to, and that's totally fine. You can let them know that you're working on your Shopify store. Some suppliers will require it, so you gotta ask. And if there's like, hey, you actually need the Shopify store, that's okay. All you have to do is go on Fiverr and have a Fiverr guy build a Shopify store for you for a couple $100. You can do it yourself, and it only take like maybe an hour, literally. And in fact, you might want to actually, because some of the people will require you to, pick the name, put in your billing information, and buy the URL or whatever. You might have to just go ahead and do that, and then from there, the Fiverr guy will just build and make the theme for your Shopify store, and make it look nice, and add some products from maybe. It can be from anywhere. I mean, it can even be from Petra, but it can be from AliExpress. It can be from your actual Amazon store. There's an app that you can just connect all of your Amazon items to your Shopify store, and it's in like 24 hours. Super easy. So nothing really. I can actually, if anybody really wants to see a video on that, I can do that. But it's not really hard at all. But just for face, right? You want to make yourself look as legit as possible. If Amazon were ever to ask you, if a distributor was ever to require a website, because some of them do. Some suppliers only want you to sell on the website. Okay, some brands. So it's very important to kind of respect that and just understand that that's just a reality. But some brands won't contract with you if you don't even have a website. So just keep that in mind as well. So I want to scroll down and I want to show you something. So there's a lot of reseller agreements, MAP policies, which my advertising price, like the brands or the distributors will require you to sell within a certain price range, because what happens is if you sell it too low, it devalues their brand, and they don't want that happening, because they might be the brand might be reselling it somewhere themselves on their own site or whatever. So you got to make you got to just keep that in mind. So otherwise, if you're not, you can definitely get in trouble, and they can just restrict you from selling their brand ever, even if you were authorized at one point. So keep that in mind. This is the manufacturer's index for Petra. So I just wanted to show you guys this. So like these are the vendor partners. So there's a lot of brands here. There's a lot of things here. Let me just see if I can find something that stands out. Casio, Coleman. So this is a Walmart brand right here. Just keep that in mind. I'm just trying to think something else that stands out. It says Disney. Be careful. Still be careful. But it does say Disney. Fisher. Let's see. Fujifilm. GoFit. Anything else that stands out in particular? A lot of electronic stuff, so I will say that. I just want to, but they have everything. I just wanted to, and this is the next thing. If you want to see the actual items that they have, or any distributor for that matter, inventory sources where you want to go. So I'm going to take you guys right there. So this is what you do. So you go to inventory source and you create a free account. So it's literally you just create an account, and once you create that account, now this is just a kind of a dummy account, but you go to the supplier directory, all right, and it shows you all of the suppliers that they have. So now inventory source again, when you sign up, it's free until you integrate something, but when you sign up, it is a actual all-in-one solution. Now you can use it with Solid Commerce, Ecom Dash, or Commerce Hub. Commerce Hub is used by at one point it was used by Wayfair. Okay, the CEO did tell me that, but they wanted their own, and that's smart when you're a big time company. They do want their own, or you do want to eventually have your own software for your business, because it's just less people are using it and less like little glitches and people they can possibly potentially hack the software. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, this is a great directory, because you can literally come in and just do and see everything, reverse engineer everything you want. So Petra's right here. So for example, so Petra, you click Petra, you can integrate with the software. So the software will get everything set up, and you'll have all of your your feed stuff. And some of them will have different things like inventory sync, product data upload, order routing, shipment tracker. So it'll upload the shipment, the tracking on the. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to have a VA do it. It'll have everything kind of automated for you. That's the whole point of a lot of these softwares. So it's giving you ability to outsource and let software do a lot of the work, which definitely helps from the fraud perspective. And if you're ever say, hey, I don't necessarily trust my VAs with my credit cards, look, now it's just automated from there, so you don't have to worry about that factor. Okay, super cool. But just like I said, you can go through the site. So here's the Petra website. It's giving you all the steps. Okay, it's telling you a wholesale plus $3 per order. That's the handling fee I was talking about. Okay, so I wasn't making that up. It gives you terms and stuff like that. This is the exact site that I was showing you, and polls right there. Okay, right where we were. Okay, pretty easy. Now we're back here. If you are, I do want to show you this because this is, it's important to know what you want to look for. Now, I do want to say that you want to look at the brands that each supplier does carry, because you want big brands. You want brands that are not just white label stuff that's just generic, right? You want to actually be able to have authorization so you can sell anything you want. Even if you were doing retail arbitrage still, you want to just have liquidity or the ability to just resell anything and not have those IP complaints build up, or Amazon ask you for authorization or invoices or whatever. But even if they did, you would be able to be like, hey, look, here you go, and get off my butt. We're good. So it's great to have that power. So I'm giving you guys power to fight, and instead of just being like, just a sitting duck. So US Direct, I always recommend because it's super easy. It's important, and this is what I do want to say, after you start looking at the brands. So like if you were like, let's just click one, and it says the brands right here. Okay, so you can just come in and look and be like, are there any brands that, like if you look on Web Scraper app or my do not sell list, are there any brands that are on that list that I want to be able to sell? Because if you can actually sell those, remember, everybody's getting kicked off those listings. But then if you have authorization, you can sell those. Now that isn't obviously the only reason or the only thing you want to reason to contract with somebody, because you still want to be able to sell brands directly from like maybe US Direct or Petra or D&H. You still want to be able to actually have those because sometimes there's better margins. In some cases, the margins might be better, maybe from Overstock, or maybe from some of those other places. But keep in mind, you're still going to need to follow MAP. So if the pricing is super low, you got to be careful on that. So, but in the long run, okay, you can build relationships with the distributors and even the manufacturers directly and get that pricing lower. And so that's just, even if you're theoretically like, hey, there's no margin here or whatever, that doesn't matter. And also keep in mind, this is something that I do want to point out. There is this, when you have so many items, like you have so many items, and I don't suggest putting all the items up at once. Just I would when you do find and you do contract and you get everything connected, put in a few items, like maybe 5, 10. Build some trust with the US Direct. See if you like them. See if you think they ship fast. See if they on returns the process or whatever. Start building relationships and start seeing how well everything is going. And then once you trust them and you have a good system and you have you understood how to use the inventory source software, you can obviously start to portal in more. Okay, but you definitely don't want to just come in and be like, oh, I'm going to portal everything over, because a lot of stuff can go wrong, right? But I do want to say this whole thing, or kind of debunk the myth where it's just like, okay, I scanned all of the items on this particular wholesaler. I didn't see any items that were really like, there's no money to be made. That's just because of the fact that I'm not the lowest price. You don't have to be the lowest price, especially when you have a ton of items. You can be, obviously, the rule of thumb is to be within 5% of the lowest price, because that's, you're sharing that a reasonable amount of the buy box. But when you have so many items and you actually have the ability to just, like, let's just say you have 100,000, 200,000, you really only need that item to sell. You're still going to get some buy box time, even if you're at a much higher price, like 10%, 15%, 20%. Okay, you're still going to get a little rotation, even if you're doing like a little bit of a drip. I can't even say it right. A drip PPC, like just kind of a little bit of PPC on all of your items, or maybe your best sellers or your higher ranking ones. A little bit of PPC to just kind of like get a little bit more sales, but you can have it at a higher margin. Okay, you don't have to be the lowest. Okay, you only pay for the PPC when you're in the buy box, but it's just something that to have a little bit more. You're going to have a little bit more sales and at a higher margin, and you won't necessarily have to be sitting there like, oh, I want to just crush everybody and just try to be the lowest. Well, everybody else is going to have their repricing softwares to price against you, and then it's just you're going to create this big war. Okay, the wholesalers are actually a little bit more respectable with other wholesalers because they don't want to lower that margin. They just want to keep everything equal. So it's a lot better, a lot better. It's less cutthroat. And retail arbitrage people are just like literally like, gift cards, force generate coupons and just I don't give price matching, and then like they're doing like scamming, the Walmart or whatever, saying that they didn't. Trying to get like 15% gift card or whatever just because they're saying the item was damaged, trying to make up some scam and scheme. So there's so many schemes with that, it's just ridiculous, right? So on wholesale, it's a lot. You're dealing with legit people, majority of the time. So you're able to sell a lot of the brands that you weren't able to sell with retail arbitrage, and then those people are just very cordial and not as they're not going to do all the crazy stuff. They will do crazy stuff to the retail arbitrage guys. So when you're on the winning team or the team that on the wholesale team, it definitely kind of helps buffer you from being suspended or whatever. So that I just want to throw that out there just so you were all clear. But back to this. Okay, so you're finding brands that you like, and see it's a good. Yes, it's something that you could definitely see yourself selling. It's going to be worth it. Some of them, and I'm saying that because some suppliers do charge like a fee, whether it's a monthly fee or a one-time fee to sign up, or a once a year fee to have the data fee. Like Europa Sports, for instance, I think if I can remember or recall on the top of my head, I think it's like $1,000 for the data fee a year. I can't remember, but yeah, they'll have fees like that. If you do a certain amount of volume, though, they'll probably waive it. Certain distributors are like that, so just keep that in mind. Now, once you kind of go through and you're like, okay, cool, this is good, I kind of want to go ahead and contract. I mean, same thing. You can integrate, you can become a reseller. It shows you the same thing. It shows you the 50 cent to $2 order fee, which again can be completely waived as well. Let's try to think. What was I going to show you guys? Oh yeah, so going to integrations, not integrations, but let's see, going to supplier type, integrated suppliers, my integrated suppliers. Okay, no. You're gonna want to go to. You're gonna want to go to shipping costs. So see shipping costs. So this is one of the toughest things when it comes to doing retail or wholesale reselling. It's the shipping, right? And a lot of these, like there's only 12 out of the. Remember the when we started there was 200. So let's just say it doesn't matter. There's 200 suppliers. Well, when you click the ship, it includes the shipping costs, like a flat rate basically, where everything's mapped. It's there's only 12. Which is okay. I mean, this particular one says it has 220,000 products. This one has 100,000. And this one's saying 2 million. Something adult products, 16,000. Sports and outdoors, Novatech. I recommend Novatech. Let's see. I do want to say something on Novatech though, and just even with the sports and supplies, be careful with the weapons. That's why I said it's not good to just portal everything over, because knives and anything that just can get you flagged pretty quickly. Amazon doesn't like weapons, okay? So you definitely want to be careful. If you are able to sell them, or maybe you have your ability, or you can ask, maybe ask Amazon on certain items that could be in the gray area or could be slightly dangerous. You could maybe say, oh well, this gun ammo or something like that, gun holder, something to that effect. That might be, but you just want to make sure that it's okay. All right, so I would definitely ask. to verify if you would be good to go on certain items like that. I like to stay away from any danger, right? So I don't know if you could tell, but because it's just I don't like playing with fire. I like to keep myself away from any type of risk or any type of danger because I don't like to make things just a mess and have to dig myself out of a huge grave. So anyways, if it already has the shipping cost on there, it's pretty easy to map. So why is that important? So like with Walmart, like with a lot of the retail arbitrage suppliers you're already familiar with, the shipping already kind of being factored in because it's like $35, under $35 there's a $5.99 shipping fee, over it's free shipping, so it's pretty easy to just know. Of course, with like freight items, that's going to change the pricing on Walmart, but kind of the same thing with you got to watch out for that. Kind of same thing on these wholesalers. So a lot of the cheaper stuff is they're going to charge you shipping and handling. They're going to charge you. There's everyone has different fees, but I'm just saying you got to look at all the little fees and factor that in. But as long as they're putting that in there for you, you're good. Now, Petra and a lot of the other ones, they say they'll give you a flat rate shipping pricing, but sometimes it's really frustrating because they'll give you they're all getting better and better. So I will say that more of them are trying to do this because they're realizing, oh wow, this is really important for a lot of sellers because Amazon doesn't do the best job, and we all know this, of giving you the templates per each state. There are certain things you can ship to, you can't ship to like California and stuff like that, which by the way, that's changing where you'll be able to isolate per state on any particular item. But that's important in some cases for obviously the because the pricing changes on like US Direct if you send to like California on any item versus like Florida. Okay, it just depends on where you're shipping it from. But US Direct is giving you everything kind of just like a flat rate, and they're just making it really simple from that perspective. So you don't necessarily have to be like, oh well, wait, did the price change or whatever. Now some people are saying that hey, look, it kind of sucks because of the fact that it's too high, where it could have been lower and I could have been more competitive. Okay, so that's why some people will use inventory source as kind of like your left-hand solution, and then solid commerce as your right-hand solution, and then have it mapped separately or repriced or set differently in solid commerce, so it's more custom to what the price is to make it more competitive to what's going on the Amazon account. And that way you're not necessarily like you have these prices that are just so high that you can never even compete, right? So it's important to be able to compete. If you were coming from the Walmart reselling world, if you're like 50% higher or 100% higher or whatever, you're never going to sell it. I mean, you might get one, but it's just you're never going to sell it. But like I said, I do want to point this out. If you're at 20 or 30% and you just had a ton of items, you do have a power that you didn't have with Amazon, or sorry, that you did with retail arbitrage and like doing Walmart. You have a power that you did not have, and the power is you just have so many items, and if you were able to portal them all over, you do have something that even if you were just selling it once a month, one time at that 20 or 30, maybe even 40% margin, you're able to. It's worth it. Like you have all these products that are just selling once a month. And then it all adds up. Okay. Now you of course can put together all these different types of formulas. If you have multiple accounts, you can put all these. You can have a burner Amazon account, then you can have your higher margin Amazon account. And you kind of can split test, which is something that we do. But there's all kinds of different things you can do and strategies and grouping things together with maybe your freight items and your lower price items, maybe. Of course, if you're adding in, your AliExpress, but this is kind of, outside of outside of this topic. But I'm just saying, like, everything can be isolated in different little tiers. Okay, but it's just great to be able to have a power that you didn't have, because everybody always talks about, hey, list how many items should I list? How many items, do I need to have on my Amazon account? Well, with this, I mean, you can just literally just test the entire field. It's just like, how many items do I need to have? I don't know, all of them. Click, But remember, be careful. Do not do that. Like I've done that where I just clicked it and upload them all, and I almost got suspended. So you want to be careful because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if there's going to be, like, on the freight higher tier items. There's, like, sometimes with certain suppliers, like fees on, like, the freight that are on the back end. So, like, you'll ship the item, sell the item, and then the supplier will invoice you later on, like, a different, like, on the freight. Like, and then it just messes things up. You're like, oh, I profited, awesome, sick, and then it's just like, then they come in and they bill you for the shipping. It's like, crap, and then it's gone, right? So you got to make sure that's why I said you got to test the supplier. You got to make sure that that's not happening. So US Direct is one of the ones I recommend because they don't do that. Remember, there's a lot of reasons why we're getting all these suppliers together. There's not just one. So one, we're obviously trying to profit. Another one, we're trying to protect our accounts if we get suspended, or even trying to unsuspend our accounts. This is something we're trying to do. And then, 3, ungated. Be able to sell more brands legitimately that we might have used to be able to sell, but we couldn't anymore. Yeah, it's endless. Okay, there's endless reasons why you want to do this. Okay, so it's awesome. So this is some of the important video and important part of the course, because without this, your Amazon career and e-com career is probably going to end, regardless of how long you've ever been selling. Okay, just no one's safe, even if you're a vet. Okay, so we talked about that. Now, with Petra, I'm going to come right back to this. I'm going to show you guys an example. With Petra, this has to do with suspension. All right, so I have it right, let's see, right here. All right, so see this? With Petra, when you sign up, you will get this, okay? Or if you don't get it, you can ask for it. This is a statement of authorization for all intents and purposes. It doesn't say statement of authorization. Some suppliers will give you something that looks way more legit than this, but this is just something that at least lets them contact this like Amazon will be able to contact this person. Email right there. They'll be able to contact that email and confirm if you have a pro forma invoice or a real invoice or whatever. They'll be able to contact and confirm that you are contracted with them. You're allowed to sell those brands, and everything is correct, like the address, like whatever you're doing, like everything is legit. Okay, so this is what it would look like. Okay, some of them don't have anything, and you can just literally come in and be like, hey, I need something that looks just like this. Like if it was a brand that wasn't even, or a distributor that wasn't even on Inventory Source or whatever, because remember that it's not everything is on there, but you can come in and say, I need a statement of authorization to sell your brands on Amazon. Can you provide that? Some of them will say something to the effect of, not all of the brands will allow you to sell on Amazon, but that's okay. Okay, that's totally okay. At least they can give you something that that gives you some type of face or some type of just you're just trying to show that this isn't fake. Okay, you're not just giving them a fake invoice or a fake whatever. They can verify. It can all be verified and all that jazz. So it's pretty awesome. Corporate attorney right here. Okay, so that's also good if you're trying to send this to the brands that were complaining for IP, trademark, copyright, and authentic. You know what I'm talking about? So you can send that to them and get them to remove the complaints a lot faster. Very important. It's freaking awesome. Okay, so it makes everything way more smooth. So with that being said, I can't really say anything else. So that's the end of this video, but hopefully you guys can get all this stuff and put this all together. Every supplier is very similar to this, but you just gotta some of them you gotta work a little bit harder to get all of it together. But when you send this to Amazon, I do want to say this as well. If you're suspended, okay, you want to send this. And you want to send an invoice. Now, in the case, and I want to say this as clear as I can. In the case that you are suspended, and they want a statement of authorization, and they were requesting 3 invoices. Remember if you're suspended for selling inauthentics, and you maybe never sold those items, or you might have had them listed, you might have just listed them. They're doing a supply check. That's what they're doing. and you don't necessarily have to send those particular invoices, especially if you never sell them. You're going to want to say in the invoice, or sorry, you're going to want to say in the appeal that that you never sold them, and then show screenshots saying you never sold them, and then you can say something to the effect, or lead down to it, that this is your distributor, and give them a few invoices. You can buy it, have it sent to your house, or sent to a customer, whatever, or if you were actually using the supplier. And then say, this is our supplier. You can call this person and verify that these are real invoices. We don't have, obviously, those invoices that you're requesting because we never sold them, and could have been an error or a glitch or something like that. You can say something to that effect, but here is our invoice. Here's an invoice that we've sold or on a particular item, and you can call and verify that. That's really all you have to do. So, not rocket science. You're just giving them the real information. It feels a lot better, right? You're not trying to scam, or it's not trying to. You don't feel scammy. You feel a little clean, right? So I think this is just one of the most important things that I can really provide for the course, because now, moving forward, when you do this, you'll never be at risk. And if you are at risk, you can be right back in the game. Okay, this is all you have to do. Now, obviously, I still do the appeal service. I can write letters and make it all nice and fancy and put it all together for you. If you ever have issues, sometimes you'll still be suspended if you don't write if you're not sending exactly kind of what they want, because they do want a plan of action. They do want make sure you everything sounds good, flows good. So you can't just be like, here's a picture. No, here's an invoice. That's, in some cases, of course, it might work depending on the investigator. But then, of course, in some cases, if you get one of those really strict ones, it's not enough. So you definitely want to plan, explaining certain your whole process. And I've found out now, and very interesting, Amazon's really changing a lot of what they ask for the drop shippers. Like we all have seen the drop shipping wave for the retail arbitrage guys, where they're just coming in and asking, like, well, they're spending for just doing retail arbitrage in general, but I've noticed that they're being more specific in a lot of scenarios where they want to know, like, links. Like they're asking for the website, your particular website, and they want to see the statements of authorization. But so in the case where they're asking for, like, the three particular invoices for inauthentic, I've seen it transition to just simply, like, not even asking for those particular invoices anymore. They're really more so just say they want to, like, description of your drop shipping model. They want to see your statement of authorization. They want to see any invoice, and then confirm that and call them. Okay, that's what they want to do. That's really all they're trying to do. So it's interesting how they've kind of been a little bit more direct and trying to they're just getting to the point now. Because that, just so we're all clear, that whole little, like, those three specific invoices, that's just a flag, like, on their bots. They're just trying to verify what's going on. You might not even have had any, this is key, you might not have had any complaints from those brands at all. They're just literally trying to verify your supply, like your supply chain. Okay, the reason why they're probably doing it is those brands are probably brands that complain a lot, and Amazon just has bots on those particular brands, and to automatically suspend you, or send you a warning immediately out to see what's going on and where your supplier is. Because once you start selling brands that are pretty legit, they're like, we don't trust you. We don't trust you yet. You haven't given us anything. Okay. Now, of course, a lot of people are like, oh, FBA is going to save me. FBA is going to save me. That doesn't save you. That still does not save you. Okay. So it does theoretically give you a little bit more legitimacy in some senses of the word, but you can get IP complaints to build up with FBA and get your entire account suspended. So doing online arbitrage is you're no safer. Okay, you need these relationships. You need these documents. Okay, so even though they can prove from an inauthentic basis with FBA, you don't have the authorization. Okay, and that's the key. That's why this video is so important. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.